Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Learning Curve, where we have my co-host, Lauren,
Hello.
and myself, Derek. And we have a special guest tonight. Our special guest is Miss Eileen Juric. She is a very well-established dance instructor who also teaches a lot of adult skaters, and she has been teaching me on the side for like the last 4 or 5 years, I think. I take privates with her. She's very well, very well established. Went to the Joffrey Academy of Ballet in New York City. Very gifted ballet dancer, years and years of training, lots and lots of success, and she has been working with skaters now. Even the United States Figure Skating Association has invited her to come to a recent training that they did in Colorado, and she was out there with like Judy Blumberg teaching, and so we're really, really excited to have you tonight, Eileen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
Lauren, do you want to say our little uh, our motto at first?
Well, ain't nobody gonna break our glide.
That's
And
right.
we also want to say that if you find this video useful, you can like and subscribe on our channel. And we will, of course, add resources to the YouTube channel as well as our Instagram page at Learning Curve 2122 of Eileen's videos and how you can, she has a website as well, and how you can reach out to her.
Yay.
Yay!
Eileen, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing with your program?
Well, I think that thank you so much, by the way, for that introduction, and thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Of
Really a
course.
wonderful opportunity. Well, I guess I kind of want to start with my experience at the U.S. figure skating, and kind of work back, but rather than go into all my history and everything, I can kind of give you a little bit of summary of how I got here, in the sense of the body mechanics evolution in my training, because I'm very entrenched in the ballet world, the traditional ballet approach that has been time honored and tried and true for so many years. And I had a ballet studio after all my training, own ballet school in New Jersey for 15 years. And then I moved down to the North Carolina area. And for 20 years, I've been freelancing. And I've been in all types of dance environments, the recreational, competition, all different things, all different types of, how do I say it, where students are completely disinterested to where they're so serious with competition. So the range was very vast. And for me, it was a really wonderful opportunity because as I got into the studios, they gave me like 45 minutes to an hour a week. And they said, okay, now get the ballet job done. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. How do you do ballet in that little bit of time every week and get the children to really understand their body? So that was the beginning of power dance testing for me. I had to scrap everything. And I learned very quickly that it wasn't about my knowledge so much, but I had the best ballet teachers in the world. And I trained at Joffrey Ballet School, New York City Ballet School on scholarship. I danced with Maria Falchi, balancing people. And all of a sudden, I was left kind of not knowing, what do I do with these children now? How do I really help them? So I had to start from square one. And I really got desperate. It's like an episode of Desperate Housewives, a desperate ballet teacher. I thought, what am I going to do? And so what happened was every day I walked in, I just sort of developed something based on their needs. So instead of teaching to my knowledge, I had to teach to their need. And so this program has been born out of that. And I've been able to help them make the connection with the correction very quickly. And that is isn't that what we all want, to be able to have quick results and spend less time training. So when I was at US figure skating, I was able to help them understand that they don't have to do so many hours if they understand where the body movements are coming from. So I'll stop there so you may want to ask some questions. But I hope that helps a little bit explain my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can we also say that you instructed with Gracie Gold at this training camp? And
Oh,
And Paulina Evans.
yeah, and so Gracie Gold, it was so wonderful. She assisted me in the class, one of the classes. And I was so honored to be able to work alongside her. It was really great. And the director who was coming at the end watching us, we were really having a great time, but they were learning a lot, said this is a rock star educator. So that was a real compliment.
I just did a sample of Eileen's program with Derek, and Derek was my example because I'm new to this program. And as Eileen mentioned, Derek mentioned, he's been working with Eileen for 4 or 5 years. And so this is newer to me, the idea. I have had a lot of ballet background, but the way you explained it is like how everything works as a system. So some of the things that stood out to me, I think like the phrase that sticks out to me right now, Eileen, is like work smarter, not harder. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Definitely.
And when Derek was demonstrating how upper body, there are 6 kind of like movement points, and then lower body 6, and that's like too much to remember and too much to correct everything. Then you can kind of simplify it into, use the terminology. It's like the system or the, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 is what you
Yeah,
mentioned.
it's more, yeah, should I get into explaining a little bit of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really the magic of it, I have to say, because everybody says the same thing, shoulders down, right? So let's count how many body parts we basically have to try to control, right? Shoulders down, that's 1. Elbows up, 2. Hands energized, that's 3. If we do it times 2, that's 6. So we've got 6 upper body movements when we teach in a very piecemeal way. And I found that with ballet, for teaching all these years, now 20 years, this program for 15 years gets them so quick in their bodies, the results are instantaneous because you take away all the extra unwanted, unneeded movement. So when I train them instead of doing 6 different parts.
Yes.
We start on the bone level of an isolation into a rotation. So we also go into a very wrong position, a contrasting wrong, in order for the body to have to process what real right is. What is real groundedness? And roundedness is a process. It's not a position.
Yes.
So, right, so if we can get them to turn the top all the way down to the bottom, we have a spiral. We have a slinky. So we've got 1 piece here and 1 piece here. That's 2 pieces. So we went from 6 pieces.
Yeah.
It's the same construction in the legs. When I train arms and legs, it's exactly the same thing. So the same thing with the legs. The legs are a circle on the top. Circular, as I like to call it, right? Arms and legs are circular bones, ball and socket. Legs are exactly the same thing. So I train the arms and legs exactly the same way, so it's fast. So the legs as well, turn out is 1, straight legs 2, point your feet 3, times 2 is 6. So it's 12 parts that nobody can actually do all the same time. Yeah. But if you just train them in 4 pieces, it's magical. And I do a lot of top-down work. And one of the coaches at the actual U.S. figure skating camp said she could not believe when she tried this, how it changed her whole body, because usually we train from the feet up. And we never get to this. We never get here. But if you train from the top down, it's like everything in nature. Toy tops press from the top down to go off. Even that slinky bouncy ball thing, those little girls, I have a 6-year-old girl who took the class at U.S. figure skating. Her name was Emma. And I said, Emma, how did you like this? And she was bouncing. She came back out of the class. She said, I just got my double axel.
Ooh, wow.
So, and I had that on video. I said, would you let me post it? She said, no.
Wow.
But so everything from the top down, minimizing the amount of movement, compressing, like bouncing the ball top down, right? Spiral mattress spring top down. It's so simple and so efficient, and it gets the job done so fast because we're doing what things do in nature, what physics is. It's top down, and it's fewer pieces moving.
Yes.
I don't know how many years it took you to develop this program, but it's really amazing.
Desperation. I was making a joke, but I was desperate, Derek, because I had the best training in the world. I taught at Princeton Ballet. I mean, I had videos and DVDs, and it wasn't enough. And so all of a sudden, you're so humbled. You know, when you walk in a room, and so now I've been applying this with my figure skating. And can you imagine on the ice, when there's no friction, how much even more important it is to know where movement's coming from, to understand the level of effort involved in something so simple as just stretching the legs. If you're really stretching that arm and leg, it takes a lot of energy. And I heard Judy Bloomberg as an example saying the same thing on the ice. Extend your movement. And even the older kids were not extending fully through the legs. The knees were bending. And so I said to one of the older classes, I said, how many of you take ballet? And a good portion had the hands up. And I said, well, what does Tommy need? And all of them said point. And so part of the issue is we're training as ballet teachers, which isn't bad. Ballet is wonderful. But if we're training in parts, like point your feet, straighten your knees, turn your leg out, you're back again to all those too many things. But if you get them to feel elongation and rotation in 1 piece, right, and they have to stretch and really use that elasticity in those muscles, then they have better jumps, they have better upper bodies, they don't sit forward on their jumps, they don't do this thing, they can press down out of sitting in the hip, right, all the things that you talked about that are important for skaters. You fix it like that.
A couple of things stand out just with my background in skating, like you were saying ballet is positional and your system is more, I don't know, in my head I keep thinking like a system, like it just all works together. Or you were using the example of the spring, like you're not just bending, it's like a continual movement.
Right.
And I think sometimes skaters get so focused on the position and it can look super rigid. And that can be everything from, I'm going to do an example if you don't mind, but I'm thinking like, I'm trying to get my double sow back and I do it from a back outside 3-turn mohawk. And I'm getting so caught up in the rigid of the positions before I take off that I think I need to focus. It just like clicked for me on like that flow of movement a little bit more.
And the arms you did. Remember we did this arm movement and then we wrapped under and you felt the back to front core.
Yeah, counteractive. So you were basically, it's counterintuitive. So you were teaching the wrong way and then the right way. And also how your core is like your low back. When you do that, and you were using the example of you're pressing against a wall, you feel that low back engaged. And that for me was a new feeling. And I do Pilates like a lot, right?
Right.
You know, so
you're saying, yeah.
But I mean, I think like that the fluidity of the movement can help with the jumps. It can help with your flow of your choreography. It can help with like every aspect of skating, because sometimes we do get so like, I don't know, without lack of a better word, like vogue, like just strike the pose. But it needs to like flow from like, do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, because that was my predicament. How do you get the ballet bar to translate into center? How do you get it to translate into contemporary dance? How do you get it to translate into anything? Because you can't turn a photograph into a video. So my idea of my program is that it bridges the gap between the highlight, the best of ballet, but it makes it so dynamic.
So dynamic.
And the key is the movement initiation, because it's also injury prevention. Because a lot of us, we're not moving from the top of the arm and the top of the legs. We're doing it from the wrong place. We're doing it from the ankles, the knees, so that injury prevention, like constantly landing, especially on ice, wear and tear on those joints takes a toll. But if you're elongating and rotating from the top, you're creating that elasticity, and you're bypassing all the joints. So you're naturally softening, getting those shock absorbers. No longer are the bones going to take that wear and tear and the brunt of it, and the landing is essential, right? Not to be used. So the top down also helps them to land up, bouncing into the plate, not naturally sinking into it. So I hope I made
that beach ball activity that you had us do, where we're pressing. Okay. So I'm gonna, so you can see my.
Yeah, let me instruct you. So everybody watching, again, the top down concept gets rid of all the, concept of do your feet, your knees from the bottom up. We just start from the top down, everything falls into place. So we're going to pretend our bodies are mattress springs. So we're going to clasp the hands on top of our head, and we're going to literally pretend someone's sitting on top of us, a mattress spring. And when you sit on a mattress spring, it never just goes down, it keeps pushing up. Yeah. So if you can do, and I had these kids come out after their ice time, after my class, and said, I got higher, I got more revolutions. They coming out, saying it over and over again, because they use the whole body. So if you bounce with the whole body from top down, and then pick one of the bottoms of the plie, don't sit, drag your right leg to sit. So sit the milkshake. So ending becomes the beginning, bounce into it. Spring into the sit. And close your right leg, but you want to spring to straight. So bounce, and then straight, and bring the back leg to first and straighten. Bounce and straight. Straighten it up. Oh, well, okay. So you can do a straightening and or you can jump. Now show us the jump. Do it with the jump. Now push really hard down the top of your head. Now we're turning into beach balls. So we're really pushing and springing the whole body from top to bottom.
My legs are on fire.
And point your toes more. So really use your feet, because that's going to help extend the legs to the boot guide. Really feeling that energy is going to have straight lines, because you're going to use that extending to the tips of the toes in the boot.
Yeah.
So it's the shoulders.
You're like a jack in the box.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Spiral, the end of your band. Hands and feet relate to shoulders and feet. That was really good, Lauren.
Yes, good job, Lauren.
Very impromptu, but I figured it would help if the listeners saw some examples.
Yeah, I
So
think that yeah. Go ahead, Lauren. Go ahead.
it's a mind shift though, because if Eileen said, if you come from the ballet background, which like most sports, especially if they're aesthetic sports, they'll say do ballet training. But I loved your analogy, Eileen. Hold on, water.
There's nothing wrong with
hard.
ballet. While
It
you're
is hard.
drinking, I want to say a comment though. I don't want to forget to say this. There's nothing wrong with ballet. We just don't have enough time to do enough of it. Okay, so keep going.
Right. No, I do think it still has its benefits, but what you said was such a great analogy. You can't take a picture and turn it into a video, and your program bridges that gap.
It does. Because you have to seek out where the movement comes from. So that's in of itself dynamic energy and fluidity. Like you said, fluidity is exactly the right word. So even if you go back to your ballet bar, you're much more aware of keeping everything energized and not being static. You're much more aware of the bar. So this program can help you even get more out of the ballet bar because you understand it from an inside out perspective rather than outside in. How it looks is not as important as how it feels.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, Derek, those dynamic movements are so important with our artistry in skating too.
Oh yeah. What I always think of also is if you started skating when you were a child, so you kind of developed really good skating technique, right? And you can always tell whenever there's a child, someone who's skating who started as a child versus someone who didn't start until they were adult, like myself. We're never going to have like the same sort of fluidity and beauty that you do because you started as a child. So you have like that motor memory and your technique was just developed before your brain became less malleable. And so that's why you skate the way that you do so beautifully. But what I feel like Eileen's program does is it actually allows us to sort of tap into almost that same technique, like learning that same technique that you did as a child, but as an adult. And so it actually does seem to be more fluid and more, I think it looks more natural and just looks better and more beautiful. And I think that, I don't know, I always think of it like that. I think of it like, it's a way for an adult to establish really good technique without having to turn back time and take years and years of ballet.
That's a really good way of summing it up. And by the way, people, ballet gives you that grace, right? Everybody, that's the biggest thing. How I'm standing, but still, I heard Paulina Evans actually right before I taught, and she was talking about that. Chest open, head up. And I thought, yes, but if you're not grounded here, you don't have the grace. So interestingly enough, you can get all that beautiful upper body, 8-palm arms in the ballet class, and then when you try to move and control it and make it look like that, that's hard. How do I translate that? So if you really have groundedness on the arms and leg level and the bone level, the bone body mechanics on the bone level, body, when people say muscle memory, bone memory is much more important than muscle memory because when the alignment is there, you can stretch from it. And so that's where the beautiful, right? That beautiful ethereal quality comes from, is being controlled and solid in the body. You don't have the choice to lose it if you don't have it in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The grace comes from control. You have to have the control before you can reach beyond and stretch it. Is that making sense about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not just a picture of how pretty it looks. You have to be able to be stable enough in your body to be able to be graceful. Mm-hmm. So that's when you can really utilize the ballet and what it has to offer, is when you're knowing where the bone alignment is. And that's what I call mechanical memory. Grounds the bones first. And when you get the correct bone rotation, the muscles that are underneath the shoulders and feet, the supportive muscle groups that you want, are the ones that kick in immediately. So the bones first and then the muscles to support. And often in ballet, we do positions and we say, hold your core, hold your kicking muscles. And we tend to be too much on top muscle restricting the movement. Makes sense?
Yeah, to me it kind of is like that, how did you say it? The bone memory?
Bone memory instead of muscle memory.
Bone memory. To me,
mechanical memory is bone memory, like riding a bike. For me, that's the first thing I teach children. And then when they do that correctly, the muscles you want them to hold automatically are available to them. But you can't have a house that's built without the frame.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I was thinking the same exact thing.
Derek, I was literally, that's where I was going with
Yep.
it. I was about to say, it's like the foundation of the house that sets the foundation of the house that everything else can be built upon, but you have to have that solid foundation first.
Yes, it's magical because that's the reverse of how I learned. I learned at ballet. You hold your core, hold it, and then you're so bound in your body that you can hardly use the mobility on the bone level. If you really want to be able to be mobile,
yeah,
right, you have to know where to hold that doesn't restrict the mobility and the fluidity. If you're holding a position, you're holding too much.
Yeah.
That's why we can't translate as well to the center or to height.
Speak to the demographic of your clientele. You mentioned to me an age range when we were doing the examples. Like, can you kind of speak to how this kind of can serve so many different backgrounds, ages, abilities, etc.?
Yeah, I absolutely can. But it's every level. I mean, when I start in workshops, I do every age group from 6 up does the same level 1, which tells you that the simple things done correctly are very challenging. And so we did a parents class too. 50 or 60 parents were in there at the U.S. Figures Camp Access Excellence Camp. They were in there, and they could not believe how the simple things were so hard. So they were struggling, but everybody can see the value in it. As soon as they try, it's like riding a bike. You know, oh, struggle, snap into the fight. But unless you give them the experience of struggling, they're not going to get it. If you say, "Oh, fix your arm," they're going to fix the arm and lose everything else. But when you get them to do like riding a bike, once they get it, they never forget it. That's the magic, because then they can continue to reinforce it and build strength around it and not restrict it. It's magical to me. I so enjoy it. Every age, every level will benefit from it. Very
and
quickly.
your passion, as you know, we mentioned on the phone yesterday, like it's contagious.
It is.
It transfers, because it does make a lot of sense, but it's like rewiring your brain a little bit because you didn't learn it that way first, but it does make so much sense when you explain it. So
I can't wait until we're going to have a future guest on the show. His name's Stan Kimmer. He's been skating now for like, I don't know, 10 years or so. And he's been taking with Eileen for several years. And his skating has advanced significantly over the years. And he attributes a lot of his success to Eileen. So I'm really excited to hear from him as well. I think that you mentioned the word magic. That's what I think you are, Eileen. You're just magic. I feel so blessed to have been able to get to know you and to work with you. And I highly recommend anybody, any skater that's wanting to improve their body mechanics and just have better movement, more grace on the ice. I highly recommend your class to them because it's fantastic.
And fewer injuries. And if you have an injury or something chronic, we can resolve that very quickly. It's often an alignment thing. And so thank you, by the way, back to Stan. Thank you so much, Derek. Stan's 70. I know everybody knows that. It's not keeping a secret. And he's won first in the U.S. Nationals 2 years in a row.
Woo-woo.
And, you know, so he has transformed it. And by the way, it is my gift and such a joy to have this profession that I get to create and develop based on the person in front of me. You can't get a better, more fulfilling career than that.
Oh, I know. And like to see like the lifespan. I mean, you're seeing like little ones and elderly, it's just amazing. It's so it makes me feel so motivated to think like, wow, I can still continue to do this for so many more years and still enjoy it and love it and even get better. And,
well, you're very talented too, by the way, Derek. You've got a lot of
thank you. Well,
there's so many habits that people have, right, over the years. It's the hardest part of the job. Is how do we get them to rewire those habits? But I have to do something so different. It's like quickly, that coach who said, make them do it so wrong that they have to find where the right is. That's a magical experience for the student. It changes their whole perspective. Oh my goodness, I did not know that's what I was supposed to do. Anyway, Lauren, I interrupted you.
Every time when I take your class, I always feel like something great has happened. I feel like my body's benefited in some way, and it's going to always translate to the ice.
Thank you. It's my joy. It's my pleasure. And Lauren, did you want to say? I feel like
to say a couple points before I forget. First of all, one thing you just mentioned is you look at the person in front of you. So I think how cool it is for our listeners is that you can sort of customize to their needs. I know one thing you asked me prior to us getting on the Zoom here was, what are some things you're struggling with, or what do you want to improve in your skating? So it's really like a personalized, tailored off-ice experience, and also speaking to preventing injury. That's a huge worry for adults. In fact, I skated with a friend this afternoon, and we were both like, yeah, we just, it's a valid concern because you say it'll take me out of work or whatever. So
Can I just boast for 1 second and say that I've been skating now for what, 5, 6 years, and ever since I've started with Eileen, I have not had one injury.
Okay, knock on wood. Yeah, that's the, well, part of the reason is when you know where the movement's coming from, you have control over the body. When you're coming from the opposite direction, so much room for error. So much room for things not being right, and landing and takeoff is the very most important part of that. How am I landing? Are my knees and hips lined up? My toes lined up? So thank you for saying that. And
yeah, that's significant. I mean, I never even thought about that. I was like, wow, I'm sure that a lot of that has to do with the fact that I work with you, because most of my skater friends have had a lot more injuries than I have, but I have it. So there you go.
Well, and you also you're very flexible, which helps too.
No.
You're able to get into the position.
Great turnout, Derek.
Thank you.
Great turnout. The last thing I wanted to say before I forget is that you can meet with people anywhere worldwide because you do everything virtually, right? For the most part.
Yeah, I do workshops in-house. I teach in-house. I can go to skating clubs to teach. I can do Zoom. I teach in dance studios. So I've got that versatility. Any time of the day, we could do Zoom if it fits into your schedule. And I can help most people with their individual things. And that's a great benefit because I don't have a one-size-fits-all. A lot of times the ballet is approached. Again, I love ballet. It's my favorite thing to do. I don't get to do it because it's not helpful, but it's a lot of everybody fits a certain mold, and everyone's body is different. So the ballet can be dangerous because we're trying to all look the same, so you force things. But with this, we're going to help your body get where it needs to go in its own way. And it's going to be a wonderful journey. And I look forward to whoever wants to join and come on board. It'll be really exciting.
And the word that sticks out to me is effective. You do these things and then you see the results. You were saying how you had someone in your camp who could then do, like, they got their double axel, right?
Right away.
That's incredible.
Running down the hall. I got my double, almost the whole 2 days, seriously.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, because they connected with it, even though they didn't realize it in their mind, because it wasn't cognitive, it was visceral. It was the body, purely the body figuring it out, and it came back to them immediately. Because the body now recreated it like riding a bike. And that's the mechanical bone memory that I love about it. It's fantastic. Very effective and very fast.
And so powerful.
Power dance technique. There you go.
There you go.
It's definitely like the perfect name, power dance technique. I love it because it is powerful and it does.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said, like, I love that you have the word technique in there because technique is what really always sticks in my head. I played piano. I played since I was a young kid, and technique is everything, right? It really is. In order to like master, some of the really difficult pieces that we learn, you have to have great technique. And when you learn anything as an adult, it's harder. It's harder to establish the technique that you would establish as a child. And I feel like that this program really has allowed me to at least maximize my technique as much as I possibly can, even at an older age. So I really think that's so cool.
Well, breaking it down, thank you. Breaking it down, I say without having a breakdown.
That's great.
That's so easy to do, right? But when you take the pieces, when you take each part and then reassemble it, it's like when your dad goes into the garage and he takes like a part of TV or something in the horse and buggy days, you take it apart and then you have more understanding of where it goes. So we're really deconstructing the body to reconstruct it. And in that process, it's very interesting for the student. It doesn't get boring. And a lot of times the technique building can be very repetitious to the point where it's like you start, what am I going to have for lunch? I'm doing 3 conduits, you start taking a nap. And that is really actually counterproductive. But this technical training is so dynamic that you are so aware of what you're doing, so stimulated by it. And that's another great attribute of it, another wonderful aspect. Because like you said, building technique takes repetition, like piano, right? But it's not boring. You're not getting.
It's so awesome just having you, Eileen, because you're like a master. You're like Yoda of this. The body so well. I'm always so impressed by how you're able to pinpoint the smallest thing from a Zoom video. It's like you have eagle It's amazing to me how good you are with that. But you truly are a master of your craft, and it's just I feel so fortunate to be able to work with someone of your caliber. Really, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm boasting, but it's true. You really are like cream of the crop. So I'm so happy that I've been able to work with you.
Well, it's such a joy. You know, when you're saying it, all I can think of is all the students that have brought me here. So, it's like we stand on the shoulders of the greats that train me. But now I have the honor of taking it to another level and evolving. I mean, that is such a gift of joy and fulfillment for me. I'll talk about doing the same thing over and over again. By this age that I am, I won't tell everybody what it is. It's the same thing. You do the math, okay? And to be able to be fulfilled every day and stimulated and have different situations to have to come troubleshoot and ask for assistance and open up to all that beautiful energy and channeling and information that we can get if we open up to it, it makes my life so more worthwhile. And to work with people like you is a joy for me. So,
thank you.
Thank you for sharing your gift with us today.
Yeah, truly, she is definitely gifted with what she does.
Wow.
And we think it'll help so many adult skaters and listeners. Again, we'll post your.
What's the best way to reach you, Eileen? Would it be through email, your website, or?
Well, I mean, yeah, so Power Dance Technique. You can also go to my name, Eileen Juric, Facebook. Eileen, and the last name is Juric, but you'll see that when you guys.
Yeah, we'll post that.
Yeah, just Facebook message me, friend me. We have so many ways now. Instagram, yes, but Facebook, I think, because I'm older, is more of my thing. But Power Dance Technique website, and you can just submit. Right, there's a contact form, submit, or just.
And for the listeners, I highly recommend that you go to her website and check out some of her videos that she has posted on. She has an awesome website, and you can actually see her interacting with students, and it's really really cool. I love your website. It's so well done.
Thank you. Or Power Dance Technique if you want to.
Joining us.
Thank you for being our first. Thank you for being our first guest on the pod.
Yes, you are #1 guest, Miss Eileen Juric.
No pressure.
But hopefully you'll be back many more times.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fabulous. Well, thank you so much, and hello to everybody out there. I'm very impressed, by the way, and it inspires me to know people like Lauren and Derek who are actually continuing as adults. So I wanted to have a lot of time for those of you out there that are watching this, that do what you love, even through some of the pain. That's inspirational to me. Aww. And I want you to know that I see that, I honor that, and I know. It's really great. So keep going. Just keep doing it. But stay healthy. Don't get injured. That's the big thing.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Love muffins.
It's because of you that ain't nobody going to break our glide.
And again, if you really found this video useful and helpful, please subscribe to our channel.
Please subscribe and like.
Or comment.
The like button, comments, questions. You guys have questions. We're more than happy to entertain any of the questions you might have. If you are interested in joining our show someday, maybe you're an adult skater that wants to share your story and tell us all about the challenges that you are facing. We can talk through those. We can talk through, any topics that you would like to discuss. That's what this platform is for. So thank you guys so much. And I guess we'll see you next time.
By the way.
Oh, yeah.
A great support system, because Derek and I have known each other a while, and I know him better than Lauren, but you will get such support, emotional support too, which is also part of it, right? Is getting that, having your back, that feeling. You can always talk to you guys, and that's really a big deal.
We aim to uplift the adult skating community.
Yes.
And support. Yeah.
But we all need that. I don't know anyone who doesn't need that.
Everyone needs that.
People like that, a nice support system and a networking and that kind of thing. It's a community.
We want to share this lovely sport with so many other people that I think some people don't think they can do it. They think, oh, I'm too old now. I can. I'll break a leg. I'll hurt myself. But you actually can.
They start with me first. I mean, that'll help. I mean, in the sense of getting everything I'm teasing. But if they want to, because you're going to be way ahead of it if they want to do it that way.
Just one final point to say is part of us having Eileen on the podcast is to sort of highlight the importance of the awareness of your body, but for adults, especially like doing that off-ice conditioning piece. As Eileen mentioned, she has a background in ballet, but find your thing, because I think it's so important to not just get on the ice or do a mini warm up and get on. There's so much that can enhance your skating off ice, and we wanted to celebrate and highlight Eileen's program in helping adult skaters to be able to do that.
We have less than 10 seconds, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.